Welcome back to another beautiful day in the land of music. I have the Nord Piano 6 in front of me. Cool little program. I-43 on my version here, but it's called bass whirly split. So it's got the bass in the lower and this whirly. So you can play that nice little fun split sound there. In this video, I wanted to talk to you about the piano section and show you the functions and the features that we have within this section. So let's do a program and knit. I'm gonna hold shift, tap on the program and knit button, and we're gonna tap on the 2 to initialize this and just get us back to a grand piano. Beautiful piano sound. Let's take a look at some of the things that we've got here in the piano section. So first off, we have 2 layers here. If you're wondering how to get started using the Piano 6, I have a quick start video. Go check that out on my channel. I'll link it here and put it here so you can watch that if you're trying to learn how to use this piano. But we have 2 layers here. We can adjust the layers with these faders here on the panel. We have the layer buttons beneath here to change the active layer. We could press both together to activate both layers at the same time. We can turn them off by holding down on the layer. That turns it off. These also function as our split point setup. So if we tap on split, you'll notice that I can set the upper or lower. So we have 2 zones of splitting on the keyboard, and by holding shift and tapping on these buttons, I can change it between all zones, lower zone, or upper zone. So we can do this for each layer as well. One general comment is whichever layer is active is the layer that any of these settings are going to get changed on. Also, any function labeled below a button or a knob can be activated by holding shift and then tapping on that button. Below the KB zone split setting, we have the octave shift. You can see on the screen, it shows us which setting our octave shift is on. And then we can turn the sustain pedal on and off, as well as a volume pedal on and off by holding shift and tapping on these buttons respectively. One thing I love about the piano samples, specifically the white grand on the Piano 6, you've got these release samples that just give you an added level of realism you don't get in other keyboards. Really cool stuff. So we also have another function that's just built into these sounds called string resonance. So what this is when you play a note and you hold the sustain pedal, when you play other notes after that, you can almost hear the body of the piano resonating with those sounds. Beautiful effect that's just there on these sounds to give another added level of realism. Moving to the right, we have this piano select that lets us pick the actual piano sample that is tied to our layer that's active. So right now we can see on the screen it says white grand. Could scroll through the grand pianos. And we could change the piano categories by tapping on this category select button. Again, within each category, we can scroll the sounds that live within that category. Once we're happy with the sound, let's come over and select maybe the felt upright. Let's talk about some of these other settings. So up here we have dynamic compression. This is sort of like normal compression, except it doesn't crunch the sound as much as maybe a typical compression does. So compressor, when the sound gets loud, it crunches that down and reduces the volume. When you're playing soft, it raises that volume up. There's a lot of different settings that go into a compressor, but this dynamic compression gives us a really smooth way to boost the soft notes and lower the volume on the louder notes to give us a much more even playing experience. So listen, I'm gonna play some soft notes and some loud notes. When I turn dynamic compression on, as I moved through those dynamic compression amounts, I hope you noticed, I could definitely hear it in my headphones, that the sound started to become more even between the soft and the loud notes I was playing. So on full, whether I'm playing really soft or hard, the volume is much more even across that range. What this helps is it helps kind of even out the piano sound. And really what we're doing is we're changing the dynamics with the way that we're playing rather than playing hard to get louder volume. So we're still able to play soft and have that sound a little bit louder than it would be without the dynamic compression. I'm going to go from full to off while I'm playing a soft note so you can hear how this is affecting our sound. I was playing with the same intensity, and notice on the full dynamic compression how much it was boosting the volume of those low, and without crunching the top like a typical compressor would do. To the right of that, we have our KB touch. So this is the velocity curve of the key bed. So out of the gate, it's normal, light, and heavy. What this is doing is light is allowing you to play softer and still get the same intensity of the notes. Heavy is, if I'm a heavy player, I might put it on heavy so that it reduces that curve so I can play harder without really making my notes really loud. Typically, I'll use normal, but if I'm trying to build a sound that has this soft nature to it, sometimes I'll put it on heavy, which pulls back that velocity curve so the sounds aren't so intense. Below that, we have our timbre settings. So let's come back to a white grand here. Timbre allows us to change the dynamics of the piano sound or electric piano sound we have selected. So let me just play and cycle through these. So on a grand piano, we have normal, soft, mid, and bright. And notice how that changed the overall equalization of our sound. On the electric pianos, we'll also have the Dyno 1 and Dyno 2. So as I'm playing this, listen to the belly sound of this EP. So depending on what type of a sound you're going for, you can pick the sample, then you're going to start adjusting these other settings to just hone in on the characteristic that you want with that sound. To the left of that, we have the unison function. So let's come over to the grand. Unison is going to bring in just some slight detuning to our sound. almost what you'd hear in an upright. Again, we're taking a grand piano sound, adding the unison, giving us a little bit more of that, just a slightly detuned if you're on setting 1, giving it a touch more of a homey feel, I think, in terms of that piano sound. So as you can see, there's a lot of different ways that we can adjust the different characteristics of our piano sample. And with the 2 layers, we can build out a really nice piano layered sound. So let's do that to end out this video. In layer A, I'm gonna turn unison off. We have our white grand here. Let's build a layered sound that has a softer piano in the background. So we're gonna turn on layer B. And on layer B, we're gonna bring the volume down a little bit. We're gonna move and we're gonna select our soft grand, put it on a soft timbre, and make our key touch heavy. I'm gonna back off the volume of both of these to about -4. I'm gonna boost the dynamic compression to 2 on our soft grand. So really quickly, without really touching the menu at all, we built a layered piano sound. It's got this soft nature to it using just the features we have within this section. Now, we could also go ahead and add effects to each of these layers to continue to build out the depth of our program, but hopefully that gives you an idea of the capability and the features within the piano section. If you have any questions, feel free to throw those down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, stay inspired, and keep making that music.